Alright, so I'm gonna talk about crying today. Because I know there's, like, no, not everyone thinks crying is weak, but it does seem to be a stereotype where crying is weak for a guy, or a guy trying to cry, or I'll give you something to cry about. Those kind of things, or girls seeing guys as less than when they cry, showing emotion, but that's not always true. I just want to say that it is okay to cry. That is something I've become comfortable with. I wasn't always comfortable, not because of the stereotype, not because I felt weak, but because I didn't want to add anything to people. I remember being like 10 years old, and my dad went to the hospital and he almost died. I almost lost my dad when I was 10 years old. And I found out when I went to my sister's house because I went to school, then I went to my sister's house after school, and then she sat me in the kitchen, and I have two little nephews. I'm like way younger than my siblings. So I had two nephews a few years younger than me. And she told me that Dad's in the hospital and she doesn't know how long he's going to be in there. And I wanted to cry. I freaked out. Like, I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to cry. But my nephews are there, so I tried not to cry. Because I didn't want them to get scared. I didn't want them to be, like, fearful. I didn't want to worry them. So I didn't cry. And I did my best not to cry, even though I was scared and I was really, really scared. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. But I knew I wasn't going to cry because I didn't want to scare my nephews. And so I didn't cry a lot of my, life that I remember. Because I didn't want to add anything to people. I didn't want to add any fear. I didn't want to add any discomfort. I guess I didn't want to add negative emotions to other people because of me crying. So I held it all in, and I got really good at not crying. Where sometimes things will just hit me like a ton of bricks, because that's what happens when you hide it all. It will hit you like a ton of bricks. I got good at handling that. When I felt my throat tightening, I would stop talking. Which wasn't noticeable because I barely even talked in the first place. So I just would avoid talking when that happened. And no one would suspect a thing. Because I'm a quiet guy. I would sip a lot of water. That is a big thing where when I feel my throat tightening, I know I'm about to cry, I will stop talking, avoid talking, and start drinking water. Because it helps. Another thing I would do is when I feel like it's getting close, I would start breathing in deep until it like. But I try to do it more so like. That's kind of how it looked, but I would try to like breathe a little bit, like a little deep, slow breath, a little deep, slow breath, in a subtle way. And I would do these things to keep me from crying because I realized it worked. There might be a tear or two, but it worked. I got it to where I was able to control not crying anymore. I wasn't uncontrollable. You know? Because I didn't want people to see me cry, because I didn't want them to be scared, I didn't want them to be fearful, I didn't want them to be have discomfort because of it, or feel bad because of it. So I just held it all in, and it bent my ass. It always would come back with a ton of bricks. It never went away. Avoiding it, it never goes away. I realized a lot these last couple years of dating my fiance, and especially in these last couple months. You know, but this last like year and a half, I've been crying in front of her when things got too much. Because I have a lot weighing on me from, I guess, my life. A lot weighing on me. And it just hits me as a ton of bricks sometimes, and sometimes it's hard not to cry, and sometimes the little things are bringing back all these different emotions I've been holding on to, and it's hard not to cry. I can't talk about it sometimes in specifics without crying because I feel guilty. I feel I feel guilty for things I shouldn't feel guilty about. I feel bad for things I shouldn't feel bad about. And there's a lot of things that were said to me or told to me that I have not fully gotten through, and that I still use to feel that bad self-image, and so on. There's a lot. But like these last couple months, I feel like I've been crying a little bit more. But I've also been a little bit more trying to communicate how I feel, which is a big thing for me because I don't know how to communicate how I feel. I didn't have people that really emotionally for my life. Like even as a child, I didn't feel like I had people there emotionally, so I never talked about how I really felt. And so I never actually got the tools to talk about how I felt or why something made me feel a certain way or even recognize why I was feeling that way. You know, and sometimes it's hard for me to talk about it without crying or getting really emotional or talking in a harsh tone voice trying to stay calm. Because when I try to stay calm, sometimes I could talk very harshly. But there's a lot of unhealthiness in that. And a lot I want to do better, and a lot I know I can do better, and I know I'm not alone in that. You know, there's a lot of people out there that feels like a bad person for things they shouldn't feel bad about. They feel guilty for things they shouldn't feel bad about, and they hold on to their emotions because they don't know how to deal with them. Let me tell you, one of the best things to do for me was writing. Writing about how I felt. Like if you have negative self-image, write down what you feel about yourself and then write down how it actually is. Because I can recognize how I feel versus how reality is. Because how I feel is I'm a bad person. People will be better off without me in their lives. Not that I want to kind of go like that. I don't want to do that. But just kind of seclude myself, go away, you know, just do my own thing, be isolated, that kind of thing. Because I feel like people would be better if I wasn't in their life. And so isolating myself would be good because I can still watch Pokemon, I can still play guitar, I can still, you know, just enjoy the things I like about life. Without feeling like I'm ruining other people's. I definitely feel like that a lot sometimes. And I felt like that for a long time, just wanting to kind of just go away, start my new life, seclude myself. You know, I felt like it would be better. I wouldn't feel so bad. I wouldn't feel like such a bad person. I can recognize that I feel like a bad person. I feel like people would be better off if I wasn't alive. I feel like all I do is hurt people, or all I do is ruin things. Like I cannot do things right. While also recognizing that that is not true. That people do want me in their life. That I do have a positive influence on some people's lives. That I don't always ruin things. I don't always hurt people. I do bring a lot of joy to people's lives. I help people when I can. And I do a lot of little things because I want to be there for someone. You know, and it's not just like little things like, for example, like the other day, the managers were kind of mean to the dishwasher at work, so I just helped out the dishwasher a little bit and talked to him about Minecraft because he liked Minecraft. You know, it's just little things like that, little things that don't really seem like a lot but can be a lot to the right person. Or like I remember one time when I worked at Subway, there's this girl that came in and she was having a bad day and she was telling me about it, and she wanted to have like the meal, but she only had enough for the sandwich. I let her either choose the chips or drink for free, and I just gave her whichever one I can't remember what one she chose, but she chose one and I just gave it to her for free. She was having a bad day, and it's kind of just a little thing to just give her a little boost for the day, you know? Just a little good deed that's almost like it's nothing but can mean a lot to someone in the right moment. And that's the person I want to be, and that's the person I can be, who I am most of the time. But that doesn't make me feel like a good person, though. It doesn't do anything to make me feel good. I just want to be there for people in a way that I want someone to be there for me. My fiance has been the person that's been there most in my life. She knows me more than anybody. She knows my pain. She knows what makes me cry. And she will make me cry by asking me how I'm doing. When she notices my little things. Because, damn it, she notices my little things. She notices when I'm not doing good. She notices when, she just notices when I'm a little off, and I guess I just never had that before. And so it can be very challenging to deal with that because I guess I just don't know how to deal with that. So I've been trying to communicate better. Communicate in a healthier way. Communicate in a way where I don't lose control of my emotions and start being extremely emotional or things like that, and just cry it out, because crying honestly does make it feel a lot better. You know, crying does actually release some chemicals to make you feel better. And sometimes you just need to cry. And I grew up seeing people drinking to the point that they cried. I've seen multiple people do like they couldn't cry sober, not that I've seen, but man, they get too drunk and they start crying. I don't want to be like that. I just want to be able to handle my emotions and work through them and get through them. And I want to be able to cry without having to be drunk. And I don't like drinking. I don't drink. But I don't want to be one of those people that would only be able to cry if they did drink. I just want to work through my emotions. I want to be happy. And by happy, I mean happy with myself. I just want to work through things I need to work through to be happy with who I am and just myself, not feel like the worst person ever. Or like I can't do enough, or like no matter how hard I try, I am never enough. And sometimes it all gets to me. And I was really good at keeping it all together, not crying until my fiance came along, and then I started crying. But you can cry in front of someone. Because most people, they won't think you're weak. Most people won't care. Cry in front of your guy friends, they'll actually be there for you. And if they're not there for you, they're a shitty ass friend. That's all I gotta say about it. If someone cares so much about being manly that they think less of you for crying, they have some really bad insecurities and they need help. Because they have a lot of issues if they think it's weak and they're not going to be there for you. You know, or if a girl thinks less of you for crying, that's not your problem. Dump them and find someone else. They're not worth your time. Because you shouldn't waste your time on people that's going to think less of you. You shouldn't waste your time on people that's not going to be there for you. You shouldn't waste your time on those kind of people. You should give your time to someone that's going to be there and love you no matter what, or want you around no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's friends, family, relationships. Spend your time with people that want you around for you. Don't waste your time on people that don't like you for who you are, that only want a certain part of you. Give your time to people that's going to want you around, even if you do have problems or bad days or issues, or even if you're not yourself all the time, or even if you feel annoying, if you cry. Just spend time with people that want you around because they won't like you. You know? That's all I really gotta say about it. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Well, I hope this video has at least helped you a little bit. So thank you for watching to the end of this video. I'm Passionate Loser, and if you'd like to support this channel and possibly help me support my family with writing or YouTube, you can send tips at Cash App or PayPal. You can become a Patreon if you want a monthly subscription. You can subscribe to this channel, you can like this video, you can comment down below. you can email me at passionateloser@gmail.com. And don't forget, follow me on Instagram and Facebook down below.